Hey, how's it going? In today's video, we have the Zoids high-end master model Liger 0 Schneider from Kotobukiya. My specific kit was released in June of 2011, though there is a Marking Plus version that was released in 2019, with the only differences between is that the older release came with Bit Cloud, while the Marking Plus came with water slide decals, and also a generic pilot figure. It's been many years, so I forgot the price when I bought my Schneider, but currently on HobbyLink Japan, I see it for $75.51 Canadian. But if you want to buy the armor unit separately, that's also an option for $35.98 Canadian. I built this kit several years ago, so I don't have the box anymore, but here's what it looks like. And before we take a look at the kit, gotta let you know, this is a relatively old high-end master model. Though the build was pretty easy, comparable to a master grade, the kit has gone loose over time.
Oh my god.
Oh! So yeah, during the video I did kind of go crazy and lots of words were said, but I gotta say it's not as bad as the Jaeger, where the polycaps cracked. But like the Jaeger, after I had finished recording, I superglued all the loose, non-moving parts onto the Schneider. So onto the kit itself, here's the high-end master model Liger 0 Schneider without any panel lines or decals. This is definitely my favorite CAS on the Liger. CAS standing for Change Armor System, which pretty much allows the Liger 0 to be modular, allowing it to switch between different weapon systems. The Schneider unit was the first to be produced, though it was the second to be shown on the anime. And as you can see, it's clearly made for close combat. And what you see right now, I would consider to be its combat ready stance, just because I rotated all the blades, making it battle ready. And if you're curious, this is what it looks like with all the blades retracted. And just like the Liger 0 Jaeger I reviewed, this kit is absolutely beautiful. There's an excellent color contrast in the kit. The orange of the armor unit looks really good when combined with the black and white of the Liger 0's inner frame, and I absolutely love the bluish gray on the blades. And this is a high-end master model Zoids kit, so you can expect lots of surface level detail. Great for some panel lining if you decide to. I do plan on painting this kit one day, so I'm not going to do that right now. That's typical for a high-end master model. There's a great amount of colored part separation, and of course, being a giant mega robot, it's got a lot of mechanical elements implemented into the design, and would definitely benefit from a paint job. And as I mentioned earlier, the build is actually pretty easy, leaving little to no bad nub marks, leaving you with a very beautiful looking kit at the end of the day. And you think everything will be okay, until you try to move it. Yep, so let's do articulation. Alright, starting with head, as shown earlier, the cockpit hatch can open, revealing the pilot figure. So can the mouth, being able to open up this wide. Not sure what this piece is called, but I'll call it a fin. And it's able to slide in and out. The fin on its cheek is able to externally rotate this far out. Lastly, we got fins nearby where the ear should be, and they're also able to slide out. And I would highly recommend gluing the connector piece that connects this to the head, because it will always fall off. Now as for the blades, the lower blade can flip forward as well as rotate slightly. And the blade nearby its jaw functions the exact same way, having a small rotation and being able to flip forward. And then we got the last and largest blade being able to flip forward as well. It's already proven to be more secure than the Jaeger. All this additional armor does limit its mobility. As you can see, it can barely look up just because of these boosters over here. And if you try to move it, you'll dislodge those boosters. And they're pieces that are just prone to falling anyway, so just gonna remove them for now. Though limited moving up and down, the side to side movement is still very good. And to make this easier, I'm just gonna remove the head for now. Moving on to the body, let's take a look at that booster I just took apart. It does have some limited range of motion, being able to open and revealing the vents inside, as well as being able to rotate very slightly. Onto the body, the back extension is pretty good, followed by a non-existent ab crunch. The middle part of the body is able to extend and retract. Now onto the most important part, the large blades, which are able to flip down, and the arm it connects to can slightly extend. The blades themselves could fold all the way forward, so you have lots of options to position it. And I want to point out, unfortunately, the polycap has gone a little loose, so sometimes this blade arm does fall off. Additionally, this part of the arm has a hinge, which allows it to fold almost 90 degrees. And before I forget, flipping it onto its back, you can see there's a cannon over here. The cannon is able to tilt up and down and slightly rotate, at least giving Schneider the option to shoot something. And since the head is already off, it is a Zoid, so it does have a Zoid core sitting right here in its chest. Okay, time for the front paws. It's able to abduct this far. 360 rotate, if things don't get stuck, but it's able to do it. Shoulder armor is able to rotate forward and back. This small fin here on the shoulder armor is able to flip out. The front paws got a pretty good elbow bend. Normally paws would be able to 360, but we got that piece of armor that always falls off. I highly recommend gluing it. And decent dorsiflexion and extension. For the hind legs, abduction is very similar to the front. 360 rotation is possible, but yeah, things are in the way. Like the front shoulder armor, this hip armor can also rotate forward and back, and the fin here can also open and close. And we got a pretty good knee bend. Surprisingly enough, the joints are still very tight on this kit. Coming to the ankle, it's able to extend this far and bend this much. Good to know that the ankle joint is still very stiff. And the hind paws functions the exact same way as the front paws. This is because the armor is not limiting it because it fell off for the 50th time. This is the absolute worst part of the kit. Highly recommend gluing it. And lastly, we got the tail made up of multiple segments with a combination of hinges and peg and socket joints, giving it some decent flexibility. And if all the blades weren't enough, at the tip of the tail, there's an armor piece that has more blades that could fold in and out slightly, as well as fall off. Since the frame is from the Liger 0, the articulation is very similar, though because of the Schneider's armor system, it does inhibit some of the poseability, such as the armor near the head limiting the range of motion there, as well as the giant blade preventing the need to track forward. But on the bright side, despite having loose parts, at least the polycaps for the joints are still intact. As for extras and accessories, there are none. Everything's already on the kit, so what you see is what you get. But if you do wish to actually put on an action base, there's an action base hole right at the bottom over here. So get yourself a display base. I'm currently using the MSG Flying Neo base from Kotobukiya, not included. And on an action base, it looks exceptionally good. Something about cats jumping around just looks very majestic. Oh yeah, here's a shake test. I'm not going to go too hard, but yeah. Typical Zoid fashion, things do fall off, but it's not nearly as bad as the Jaeger. Majority of the kit stayed intact, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now as for height, right now from the bottom of the foot to the tip of the tail, it's 10 inches. Or 6 when you're just measuring up to where the ears are. With a maximum length of 16 inches. Could be shorter if you curled up the tail. As for some size comparison, here it is next to the Entry Grade Arc 72, Master Grade Arc 72. Here it is next to the Shensing Technologies White Tiger, being just a tad smaller. And here it is next to the Hind Master Model Lightning Sykes. Then we got the Figure Eye Standard Amplified Metal Garurumon, Haro, Doraemon, DK, a guitar because why not, and a box of the recently released Blade Liger from Takara Tomy. As for shelf presence, here it is next to its Panzer in the display, looking pretty good, having some good shelf presence because the orange does stick out, even with all these kits here. Alrighty, review is finished. Final thoughts. I don't want to come off as biased because this is my favorite CAS on the Liger 0. Appearance wise, I think it looks the best out of all the CAS. The blade gimmick is very cool and I absolutely love it. Nothing wrong with having a bunch of blades, it makes it look hella aggressive. Build was quite easy, though I don't recommend it for beginners. There are some pieces I do highly recommend gluing. And as Zoid's structural integrity goes, it's not horrible, but it's far from being a solid kit. As for price, if you're able to get this or the equivalent of it in your currency, I think it's a pretty good buy. Thanks for watching my video, I hope you like it. I enjoy making it. Let me know what you think. I got plenty of Zoids to review, so thanks again for watching. Take care, bye.